So that's how Aaron got on. And then everybody after Aaron was trying to play like Aaron. Like anybody that you hear playing drums right now, especially black people, they all trying to sound like Aaron Spears. So he like changed like the way everybody plays. So it's just like, then he went on tour with Usher. He went on tour with Bieber. Did he do Lady Gaga? No, I don't think he did Lady Gaga.
Bieber's a drummer too.
Who?
Bieber, he's a drummer.
Bieber's not a drummer.
I mean,
he plays drums, but he's not a drummer. He's just no, he's terrible. I've heard Justin Bieber play. He's not a good drummer. So he probably plays drums as well as he plays keys or guitar. Like he's just a rich boy that ain't got nothing but time.
And money to buy a keyboard.
He just got money to buy a keyboard and drum. No,
that's kind of racist. But
I didn't say about anything about his race. I'm saying it's classist. Yeah. So R.I.P. Aaron, man, you gonna be missed, brother. Everybody in the DMV is real like we shook because that was our dude. You know what I'm saying? Like that was our guy. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor. Will foreclosures and bankruptcies crash the housing market? Freddie Mac's new down payment assistance website. We've got the DMV real estate news, the real estate hot or not. Then we're going to jump into the comments section. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Coach Marcus, what's up, y'all?
Today we got a special guest. We got another DW. We got Daniel Walcott. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on?
What up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming through.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, brother. Dan Walcott from the Menkiti Group.
Yeah.
My brother from another mother. So in case you guys hadn't realized, we have two Daniels on the show right now. So
I'm outnumbered.
Two Daniels versus a Marcus. So you can't talk trash today.
Good luck.
DWD. DW.
Got the DWs in this. So do you go by Danny or Daniel?
It depends on when you met me. So
Same thing.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. So growing up, everybody called me Danny. And then like starting like high school, they called me Danny. College, I got both. I let people call me whatever they want. So I get Dan, Danny, Daniel. And then, but after college, I introduce myself as Daniel. So if I'm around a mixed crowd, like people will be confused, like, why do you call you Danny? And I'm like, well, that's what they call it. Depends on, it really just depends. But yeah, I go by all three.
Yeah, you're my fellow traveler. I have a similar journey. So I started off as Danny.
Okay.
And then though, I grew a disdain. I used to disdain Dan. I always hated Dan. So people call me Dan, but like, don't call me, you can call me Daniel, you can call me Danny. And then I grew disdain for Danny. I was like, don't call me Danny, I'm not a kid.
I had a little disdain for Danny.
Yeah.
I had a little disdain for it.
But then I grew up, I was like, whatever. Like, so that's how I know how you, if you really know me,
yeah.
I'm like, you call me Danny. Right? So I'm like, if I'm standing out in the middle of the street, somebody say Dan, I'm like, who know me? Like, oh, you call me my government name? Like, who? You must know me, right?
Hey, go ahead.
Then I went to Daniel.
Okay.
Then I went through a hippie phase where I changed my whole name to Olubenga, but that's a whole other podcast.
What?
We'll talk about that on another podcast.
Hold on.
I went through a hippie phase, okay?
Olabenga?
I went through a hippie pro-black phase. I grew my dreads. I changed my name. Nobody could call me anything but
Olubenga. The mask behind.
Yeah, that was when I was. That's the last remnants.
Olabenga.
I got them from Amazon, bro. Straight Amazon, bro. Yeah, Then I went. Then when I got into real estate, I was Daniel, but I felt like Daniel Wheeler was just too long. Also, I said, well, let me just go to Dan, and then I just went to Dan Wheeler, and I felt like that was a little bit more like snappy.
Yeah, which I think it is. I think like people, I don't know, maybe it was just one time, but like people used to think I was you. When I first got in the business.
What?
When I first got in the business. Like, I don't, and it's funny, like, I don't remember who.
That said a whole lot.
But I think it's just only by name, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, it was like, oh, like, Daniel W. And, like, oh, so you must be Dan Wheeler. And I'm like, no. I gotta find out who this guy is.
Like, oh, you must probably light-skinned and a different person.
Right.
It's funny when we have clients and he's referring people over, he'll text me and say, look out for a call for such and such, or email with, or whatever. And then I get on the phone with them, and they'll be like, I'm thinking, like, it's Marcus Fields, Dan Wheeler referred, whatever. They're like, oh, yeah, little Danny or Danny. I'm like, and then I know, oh, they knew him from way back. Like, this is, and then, like, 99% of these people are like church folks, you know, like the church mother, the usher, or whoever it is, and deacon such and such, or deacon. It's so funny. So I get it, but I'm not Danny. I'm not. My name is Marcus, and I'm here. Not
No, you're not Danny.
Not by accident.
You're Marky. Nobody. You ever went with Marky?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And don't start. That's what you're not gonna do.
All right, I found a pain point.
Bro, the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, when that came out, I was like, y'all, like I hate
Well, how do you think we felt when the Karate Kid came out?
Oh yeah,
Daniel's son?
Bro,
to this day.
to this day, my
To
whole
this day.
junior high school was, oh, Daniel's son, Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
bro,
you got it too?
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
We all get the same thing. But you know what we're not gonna get? Foreclosures and bankruptcy.
That's a fact.
See that transition?
He been working on these segues for like
Pretty good.
6
I
months.
wax on, wax off with these joints.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called a callback.
YouTube.
So, if you've been worried about the recent news, you might be thinking that there's going to be an increase in foreclosures and bankruptcies. I know we were hearing a bunch about that during the pandemic. Everybody was like, oh, you know, this is what I heard from my clients. Maybe you heard the same thing. I'm not going to take advantage of these 2% interest rates. You know why? Because I can see the future. And I know that there's going to be a whole bunch of foreclosures and bankruptcies, and I'll just wait for those. Then I'll get the sweet, sweet deals.
They couldn't wait.
Yeah, the Crash Bros. All the Crash Bros. We're coming after y'all Crash Bros today.
Crash Bros.
So Crash Bros, looks like you were wrong that time because you missed out on the 2% interest rates. Now the interest rates are 8%. Doesn't look like we're going to have a whole bunch of crashes. Banks, because I think, and from things that I've read, they didn't want another 2008 situation. Put a pin in that. Banks don't like holding real estate.
They absolutely do not. They hate it.
They don't want a bunch of inventory.
They're not in business of holding real estate.
Contrary to popular belief.
Contrary to popular belief, they got to pay property managers. They got to pay.
It costs them more money. When I was at Navy Federal, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do. When I was at Navy Federal, like the REO department, like that was the most miserable folks, like
Wow.
in the credit union, because they were there for a job to manage a portfolio of inventory that the credit union never wanted anyway. They were in the business of giving the money away for people to have the home and make money off in servicing the loan. But then it comes back, and then now they're in there with all this pressure from higher ups to do what it
get
takes
rid
to
of
get
this
this off our
inventory,
books.
right, 'cause they're not
'Cause
making
it's
money
dead
on it.
weight. Yeah.
Right. And then after the pandemic happened, that's when they basically said, okay, you guys don't got to pay your mortgage, you know, and that's what we've dealt with that on prior pods. Go back and listen to some of our earlier episodes. But what they basically did was allow most people, 94% of the people, to either what do they call to
Modify?
Loan modification.
to go into forbearance, or they took out like a second and put it on the back of the loan so that people wouldn't go into foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually have this. We've seen like the lowest amount of foreclosures since about 2010. If you look at this chart, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to put the chart up. But the chart basically looks like a ski slope. So it goes from the top down to Death Mountain, where we're basically at about the lowest that we've been so far, at below 100,000 foreclosures. And now in Q3 of 2023, we're just above, in between 100 and 150,000 foreclosures in the entire United States. And to put that in comparison, in 2009, we had about 950,000 foreclosures. And so now in 2023, we've had about 150,000 foreclosures. So it doesn't look like so far we're going to have this big, huge foreclosure crisis. This article talks about in recent years, the number of foreclosures have been very low. That's because in 2020 and 2021, like we just said, the forbearance program and other relief options were put in place to help many homeowners stay in their homes during that tough time. When the momentum ended, there was an expected rise in foreclosures, but just because they're up doesn't mean that the housing market is in trouble. To help you see how much things have changed since the crash of 2008, check out the graph below that I'm going to put at the on the YouTube here. As you can see, foreclosures filings are inching back up to pre-pandemic numbers, but they're still way lower than the housing market crash of 2008. And today, the tremendous amount of equity that homeowners have in their homes can be applied to help sell and avoid foreclosure.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the main things we're seeing. I'm sure you're seeing it. A lot of your buyers over the past 2 or 3 years have a lot of equity in their properties.
They have equity, but I think it's also like, and it always comes down to supply and demand, right? There's just the supply is not there for a market crash,
Right.
and so it's interesting to me because looking back now, I couldn't predict where we are today, right? I mean, you try to, you kind of you hear what the crash bros are saying, and then you kind of like try to play it out in your head. All right, well, let's say it does play out that way. How would it have to happen? And like for me, like even when rates went up to like 6, I thought like, all right, well, 6 is good, but the market didn't really slow up. Like it slowed up a little bit when it initially happened because the jump was so huge. And I think what was that end of maybe like mid 2022
What's that when?
when everything
Yeah.
kind of stopped.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
The
it
mar-
was
like-
that summer. I think I had a property on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I had a rehab on the market.
August of last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Where everything pretty much stopped, and then people realized, all right, I'll pay 6%. Right, and then the market started ticking back up, and then the Fed just kept raising interest rates, and so even today, like I don't know where we go from here. I think people get used to where we're at, 7-8%. I don't know if they continue to rise it, but I know inventory is always going to be an issue because they're not building fast enough,
Right.
and people aren't necessarily pressed to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many people that are like, they would never move, like because they own their home, they refinance at 2 or 3%. They're like, I'm never moving,
Mm.
and if they outgrow their home and they have to move, it was what the 4Ds or 5Ds.
Yeah.
It cause people to have to move. Then they have to stomach this interest rate that is 4 times the amount on average.
Right.
3 to 4 times the amount of what they're existing. They're currently paying. Do they have double the equity?
Right.
Put
Yeah.
down larger down payment and kind of offset that a little bit.
They still can't stomach that. I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we were talking about interest rates and things, and I was saying to her, a lot of times people focus on the wrong things, right? Because at the end of the day, if the payment makes sense,
Right.
if your interest rate is 55%,
Right.
okay, do you want to necessarily pay 50? No, but the payment makes sense from
Yeah.
my pocket because that money's coming out of your pocket.
Mhm.
So I think, when we have increase of equity, but an increase of rate, it still just doesn't feel good to people. And we
Right.
are definitely in a feel good business.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I think it's what we talk about a lot. It's about expectations, right? And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people. We were talking to somebody, and they were saying like, it's about, my friend got this house. Like I got a couple clients, and I was like, wow, you got a really good deal. One of my boys got like an $824,000 house over in Rockville at like 2.4%, and his payments like 24, like
that's
30.
wild.
I was like, what was his name? It's less than mine. I was like, dang, dude, like that. Good for you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Congrats. Now, is he gonna go anywhere anytime soon? Probably not, right? Because he's at the bottom of the interest rate market, right?
Mhm.
He's at the bottom. So
Yeah.
you can think about that inversely. Like if you buy at the top of the pricing market, but you buy at the bottom of the interest rate market, it would be similar to if you bought at the top of the interest rate market but bought at the bottom of the pricing market. The difference is if you buy at the top of the interest rate market, you can always refi.
Mm-hmm.
You buy at the bottom of the interest rate market, you can't really refi. What you going to refi to?
You don't.
You refi up,
Right.
which then, it's just going to be like that
Yeah.
for a while.
Good point.
And that's why I'm doing a lot of equity lines right now. So people don't touch the 2% rate. They still need to tap the equity.
Right.
Normally, the market is sufficient to where you can get a cash out refinance and you pay, your rate kind of stays, close. But then there's a lot of reward for that risk, if you
Mhm.
will. But now you're like, I ain't touching this one. So let me just grab the equity line. Well, because the overall rates are high in our market, the rate you get on a home equity line is double digits in most situations, if not all
Okay.
situations.
Mhm.
So they're like, I don't want a 10 or 11, 12% rate, right? But you do want to tap the equity. So like, what do you do? So it's just about having the right guidance and the right education and the right team to make sure that they're making the wise decisions.
You have. I mean, I feel like you always had to be strategic, but it's even
sure.
important, even more now, where real estate is the luckiest investment you can make, right? Because you don't actually have to be smart to buy a home, live in it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I haven't seen this much money in my life, right?
Mhm.
But I think now where it's not as easy, it's not as simple as saying, oh well, hey, things are always going to go up. I have the great rate. I can always do this, always do that, right? Because I think part of the issue is the stories that agents and lenders have been pushing out when it was convenient, right? The first story was historically low interest rates. So we got everybody in, everybody in. Once they stop becoming historically low, now now it's kind of like, well, hey, I want historically low, right? I didn't listen to you before, but I want it now, and I can't give that to you now, right? Because I think before rates dropped, like when I first got into business was like 2016. I think rates at that time were like 4 or 5, maybe 6. Some people were getting like 4.5. Some people were probably getting at 6, depending on your credit. And so the conversation wasn't about interest rates at that time. At least I remember, like when I was having those conversations with my clients, it was like you said, it was about the payment.
Right.
How much do you want to put down? How much do you have saved? And how much are you prepared to spend on a monthly basis? And then, but once interest rates dropped, it was like, all right, push this message out.
Yeah.
Now we don't necessarily have that message, right? And I think the second message is you can always refi later, right? But I think the way I'm thinking about it is I don't say that, even though it's true, right? Because obviously you can refi at any time as long as you have the credit and your financial situation is straight. But what's later, right? I don't want to put a client in a position where they're saying, well, hey, I can make these payments for a year. I'm comfortable with that. I don't know what the Fed is going to do because we don't know, right? They have to curb inflation. They have to kind of analyze all these kind of things. And so, yeah, they may not raise interest rates anymore, but it still could be 6, 7%. And if you're at 7 and rates go to 6, is it really worth refinancing at that point?
You bring about a thought in my mind, because I like the way you think, and it's similar to the way you think, Dan. The way the Dans think. Because there's a hard truth that sometimes that we have to deliver, and sometimes that hard truth doesn't agree with our clients' thought process or what they want the truth to be, what they want the outcome to be. So like you would educate them and be like, well, let's think about this practically, because we don't know. Yes, we can refinance later, but we don't know what now looks like. And then the time from now to later, there's so many things that can happen.
Right.
You don't want to be stuck, to where you can't make a wise move, because you should be getting better as you go.
Exactly.
And quick story, like they say, facts tell, stories sell, right? And it's like I had a client that wanted to buy new construction just this past week, and she had issues with her landlord. She was trying to move. She wanted to do it in 30 days, and she's a government contractor, right? And she was saying that her payment affordability was like $3,800, but her rent was only going up from $2,500 to $2,700 because of the principle of what was going on with her landlord. She's like, I don't want to be involved in this with this guy anymore. So I'll take $1,000 higher payment a month just to get out of this. And then she said, and she's a single mom, but my job just laid off some people that are not going to come back to work on November 1st. My job is safe for now, but at the beginning of the year, I may or may not be. And I was like, hold on, sign that lease, because you've been with this landlord for 5 years, right? Now she had the heart to buy, and she was going to spend $120,000 for a down payment, closing costs, all the things.
Damn.
I'm like, yo, sign the lease, take your $2,700 payment. It was wild, and I was like, don't put yourself in that position, because you're gonna spend everything you got.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to like tell them the hard truth that may not make them feel the best, but you snap them out of it and be like, yo, all right, that actually is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So
I
appreciate the point is I appreciate how you take that approach, and I think that lends to your success and yours as well, because we have.
Yeah.
Tough.
No, your
Lots of
approach,
tough
your approach makes sense in that situation, because it's like you may want it right now, but is it the best thing for you right now? And I hear a lot of people on the TikTokies and stuff like that. And most of them just a bunch of bots, but they say, oh, all y'all realtors, all y'all just trying to just get us to buy. Like y'all say it's always a good time to buy. Well, one, it is kind of always a good time to buy. Like I always say, it's not about when you buy, it's about how you buy it. It's about your strategy that you're using when you do buy.
Yeah.
There's a strategy for buying in a high interest rate market like we're in right now. There's a strategy for buying in a low interest rate market right now. We already saw that strategy. We know that strategy. And one of the strategies that we can use in a high interest rate market right now is down payment assistance.
Boy, you on the heater right now.
Come on. Will that preach?
In the league, we was like, yo,
That'll
we in the
preach.
zone right now. In the zone.
So what we got? Freddie Mac got a national down payment assistance website. What you got in the coach's corner, brother?
Yeah, man. It's called DPA 1, Down Payment Assistance 1. So, y'all know where Freddie Mac's located?
No.
Who?
Freddie Mac, you know where it's located? It's right around here.
I don't know who that is.
McLean. He's your cousin. Me and the Daniel.
Hey, you know what? Funny story.
My cousin Freddie.
So me and my wife, we shop at Aldi. You shop at Aldi?
Mm-hmm.
So you know I got like this off brand called Clancy, like Clancy's.
Is that their brand?
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Clancy's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like we be making jokes about Clancy's because he got like pretzels and potato chips and like you know, noodles, and it's the Clancy's brand. So we make a joke like Clancy's like this older black man that like he make pretzels and he can like replace your carburetor. You know.
I'm a Lidl guy. I don't do Aldi.
Oh, you do what?
Lidl. Lidl is the kind of
Lidl?
competitor.
Oh, that's the aren't they owned by Whole Foods?
Oh,
It's like Lidl. Oh, I thought they were owned by
I
Whole
don't know.
Foods.
That's a good thing for me to look at.
One of them is connected to Trader Joe's. Is that Aldi's then?
That might
Or
might
is
be.
that one of
Maybe
them?
it's Lidl. Maybe it's
Okay.
Trader Joe's and Lidl.
It's
I thought it was Whole
they're
Foods.
kind of cool, but they're kind of random because they got that aisle in the middle that's like garden hoses and
Is it really? I've never been in one.
there's food all around it. And then all of a sudden, just boom, you walk in there
Like
like
tires.
a yoga mat. But Freddie Mac has come up with this website. Down payment assistance is, I'll just read it. It says, time and time again, research reveals that the down payment is the single largest hurdle for first-time buyers first-time buyers need to overcome to obtain homeownership. But finding and comparing the many programs and the guidelines is a pretty challenging thing. You know that as well. Y'all know that because there are a lot of down payment assistance programs. So Freddie Mac came out with this website that allows lenders and borrowers to align so that you can go in and put in the right information that pertains to your borrower and the state and all the details and find all the programs that are available. Pretty much a one-stop shop. And they just released this. This is the press release as of October 16th. So it's something that I actually looked into a little bit. You have to log in and do some things. But it is a really valuable asset to us.
What's the website?
You would ask that, brother. Hold on. Let me click the link. Click the link. I think it's dpa1.freddiemac.gov. Let me see.
So it sounds like you put in your information, maybe income, location, and based on the qualifications, it'll kind of line you up with programs that you could qualify for.
Yeah. I'm gonna
We're gonna put the link in the YouTube.
Yeah, I'm going to actually dpa1.freddiemac.com.
The number one.
DPA1 spelled out.
Oh, ONE.
Yes.
DPAONE.
.freddiemac.com.
DPAONE. FREDDIEMAC.com.
Yes, sir.
Here it is, brothers. We're gonna put that link down in the YouTube, and we'll put it in the iTunes. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification button so you're the first to know when we drop new content.
Yeah. So what I like to do, I'm gonna give it a run, and maybe I can do a screen record, and we can put it up in a different type of video or something like that to be able to show you how to navigate through it. Because no use in a client trying to go in there and stumble their way through something. That's where you come to me for the lending advice. Come to the Daniels for the real estate advice concerning sticks and bricks, and help you find what programs are available. Now, when you go through down payment assistance, as you found, there's always a couple of hurdles that or things you have to concern yourself with. Credit score is important. Household income is important. Your overall debt ratio is important as well. And then there's a possibility of they give you the money for free that you don't have to pay back, or you take this money and it shows up at the table and you have to pay it back over 10, 20, 30 years at a, whatever the interest rate might be. Different states have different programs. Some are better than others. This is about finding the right one. And then there's an also component of sometimes it costs a little bit more. So some of the programs have fees that you have to end up paying. So although the down payment's covered, that fee to get into that program shows up in your closing costs.
Now, do you got to pay these joints back?
Sometimes you do. There's always one of two categories. Either it's a free grant money that you just kind of, that shows up at the table, and either you do have to sit in that loan for a certain amount of time or you don't. Or the other side of it is they give you this $10,000 or whatever it is for the down payment, and they say, okay, your regular interest rate is 7%. This right here, we're going to let you pay this back at 7%, or they say we'll let you pay this back over a 30-year time frame at maybe 9%. Sometimes they bump the rate of like 2 points higher than whatever your first mortgage interest rate is. But again, there's so many out there. You just gotta kind of filter it and figure out which one is the right one.
Bro,
Freddie Mac is helping with that.
You know what would be dope? If somebody like put together a book of all the down payment assistance programs, and you could just like download
Like
this book.
nationally, or like just the DMV.
Probably just like local, like
Interesting.
DMV, like down payment assistance programs.
It's funny that you mentioned
Let me
that.
put that note on my
Is
phone.
it?
I might do
It's
something
funny
like
that you
that.
mentioned it because I did just that.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
You got
Earlier
minute.
this year, I spent about 6 or 7 months, right? Believe it or not, because they were laughing earlier because they said ChatGPT wrote it. But no, I really spent 6 or 7 months putting together all the programs in the DMV area because kind of to what you said, I mean, you probably get the same thing. The number one question that I get is, what programs are out there for me, right? And so there are so many programs and so many categories that they fit in that I felt like it would be great for there to be a one-stop shop. So I'm glad that Freddie Mac is doing that. Just wish they would have did a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
It would have saved me a lot of research, right? Because what I did is
I got a
I
feeling
went
yours
through-
is better.
it probably is. Because what I do is funny.
Man, celebrate. He better than Freddie Mac.
So if you go on dcmarylandlistings.com/ebook, you'll find the link to download. It's completely free.
DC,
DC Maryland.
MARYLAND.
Yep. Listings.com
Listings.
/ebook.
Oh, I didn't put the slash. Oh. Slash E. Oh, okay.
Hopefully it pops up.
Oh, yeah. It works.
Okay. And so there's over 30 programs in there, over really like $500,000 like worth of programs. And so obviously you're not going to qualify for all of them. Obviously you can't use all of them.
Right.
As Marcus will tell you, like some programs you can combine, a lot of them you can't. And so I break it down where you have national programs, you have state-specific, county-specific, and then even lender-specific programs. So very easy to navigate. Every single program has a link on where to get more information, how to apply, all that good stuff. And so it was a labor of love, right? Because I knew this is something that I wanted. When I purchased my first house, I didn't use a program.
Yeah.
My lender, the way I kind of think about it, because I don't want to throw him under the bus, but quite frankly, he didn't tell us about anything. He didn't let us know about any programs.
Wow.
And so I think he probably saw that we had the cash.
Yeah.
And so like, hey, they could just use it. But no, I mean,
Right.
I'd rather keep, right, the money that we spend, the 3% we spend on the down payment. But all that to say, it's available. That tool is available for anybody in the DMV area.
Oh, that's
You guys
like
should look
dope.
for
We're
it.
going to put this link in the YouTube. We're not going to put it on iTunes, so you got to go to YouTube to get this one. And we'll put it in the comments below. Let me ask you a question, Marcus. So when people use these down payment assistance programs, this is some behind the scenes stuff here. Do y'all make less money? Like, why are I just want to know, like, why are they not incentivized? Like, a guy like Dan Walcott puts this book together. I've never seen a book like this. I'm sure there's other books out there, probably not as dope as this one. Why have no lenders? Like, do y'all make less money? Like, what's the deal? Like,
Man,
tell the real estate wire squad.
I would say short answer is yes.
But
Because you have your different categories of lenders, right? So when you have a lender, let's say your buyer goes through whatever lender, and they have an in-house down payment assistance program.
Right.
That lender is giving money back to the buyer. Now, it's coming from somewhere, whatever, right? But they're not going to pay the loan officer the premium if they're also giving away money to that buyer, right? So that's more money coming out of their pocket. That's one category. You go through a program like VHDA, which is Virginia Housing, or you go through MMP, Maryland Mortgage Program. These are state subsidized programs, so the performance on those loans is not as high, and the lender that's signing up with Maryland Mortgage or Virginia Housing, they're agreeing to take less money. They get paid less on that type of loan, so they end up paying the loan officer less money. Right. So
see, that's the thing.
Here's the other thing. Let me just say this last point. Me coming out of that as a broker, like I'm going straight to some of these programs where I'm not even fooling around with any middleman. So like now I can offer these down payment assistance programs nationwide or whatever, and there's no less money out of my
That's what I was about to say, bro. Yeah. It's like you offer these programs because you're going to get paid regardless. So you're not disincentivized to tell people about these. Whereas maybe some other lender that y'all may know, they're not incentivized to give you this information that Dan Walcott is providing in his down payment assistance handbook at dcmarylandlistings.com/ebook. Because they making less money. But for us, I know for me, for you, I work with you got integrity, and I know Dan Walcott with Menkiti Group, we all got integrity. So for us, it's not just about one deal. It's about providing value to our clients so that y'all look back and go, yo, the Dans, they were dope. They treated me good. And then y'all refer us to all your friends and family, and that's really the lifeblood of our business.
For sure. Yeah, and there's an element of amount of work. Now, here's the other part of it. Like when you hear certain companies talk about down payment assistance, or it takes 45 days, or it takes a longer time frame. It's also because they don't want to spend the manpower to hurry up and get it done. Because then you go straight to the source for the money. I mean, I was talking to a lady 2 nights ago, and she was like, I can get it done as fast as you want to get it done. As fast as you can turn these conditions around, I can get the loan approved. So I was like, you talking 21, 25 days? She's like, as fast as you can, like I'm 24 hours in underwriting. If we give you a conditions list and you get those back to me within 48 hours, we're rolling, right?
Put people in the cheap seats. What are conditions?
That just means that your application has been completed. I've processed it, put it in the hands of the underwriters. The underwriters have looked at it, and they matched that up to whatever the program guidelines are. And they say, oh, Mr. Jones meets the program guidelines. They are approved. They're conditionally approved. They just have to give us an appraisal, title work, homeowners insurance.
So conditions are like a checklist of stuff that you got to do.
Yeah, just to check the boxes to figure out, make sure that everything from the guidelines is in the file. Once that comes back, submit back to the underwriters.
And the underwriter is like the referee.
Underwriter's like the judge.
Like the judge, right?
Like the judge.
I say the referee because they can throw a flag on the play and put you back 20 yards.
Yeah.
You think you're closing and then you're like, what happened?
Shots fired.
They like the Undertaker. Remember the Undertaker from WWF with Paul Bearer?
Yes.
How old are you, Walcott?
32.
You're a kid, man. I remember when I was 32. Young and fresh.
Yeah, you ain't had no beard. You have a beard?
I didn't have a beard. Like Walcott, I was beardless.
So I have a chance.
2 shots.
I got a chance.
You don't have a chance. No, you got some good seedlings, though.
A little bit.
You got some good seedlings. You know
this is the beard bullying podcast.
I'm a bully now. I'm on the bearded side now.
You finally got one.
You always, you bully down. You feel me? Let's get into the DMV market report while Marcus gets his microphone situated.
Yeah, because Dan is something, but he ain't no handyman. He put this.
Bro, you left your microphone here, so
I did.
That's on you.
You right.
I set it up how I set it up.
He took great care of my microphone while I was gone.
I was slamming that joint into the floor while he was gone, stomping on it. So we don't got the August numbers yet because it's as of today, it's November 1st. So whenever this podcast drops, will be the next week. So we're a week behind. Y'all in the future right now. We're in the past. But we do know that from August to September, we did have a drop in the median sales price. We had a drop of 5% on the median sold price here in the DMV, the Driving Motor Vehicle Administration. Here in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, we had a 5% drop in the median sales price. Now, we had a year-over-year increase in the median sale price from 2022 to 2023, the median sold price continued to increase 4.4%. So if you were to have bought your house in September 2020 at $500,000, that same house this year would be worth $522,000. You would have paid $522,000 more, or $22,000 more for the house had you bought it just 1 year later. So I don't know where you can put your money where you're going to get a freaking 4 or 5% return in this market, but real estate is one of those. Month over month, new listings are down 2% and 30% from this time last year. New pendings are down 8% last month and 15% from last year. Closed sales are down from 17% last month and 20% last year. So we have 20% less closings, 15% less properties under contract. That's what pending means. And we had 30% less new properties on the market. All this to me, and you can give me your opinion, Walcott, is a recipe for increased prices. The reason I say that, we have less listings, we have less closings, and we still have an increase in the year-over-year sales price.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's actually interesting as I'm listening because I'm in it, so I feel it when I'm out with my clients, both on the buyer side and the seller side. But hearing it certainly makes sense to me. It's interesting, right? Because you have prices which are either going to come down a little bit, maybe just in the micro, right? We may kind of see here and there, but like you said, year over year, like we're still up.
Right.
And you have inventory which is down. But if you look at the news, and I remember this earlier this year and last year, when people weren't selling, where there weren't as many homes on the market, they said the market is down. And so when you hear the market is down, you think, well, that means prices are down, right? Where in reality, it's just activity is down. There's just not, people aren't moving, people aren't buying. And so the message that's putting out there is, hey, we're heading to a real estate crash, where in reality, as we can see now, we're living in it. Like, that's far from true.
Right.
So I think it all comes down to not only the numbers, but what do the numbers actually mean, right? Because I think hearing it from us as we're in the business, we can present it one way. And I don't want to say necessarily interpret it, right? Because it is what it is. Like, we can tell you exactly how it is.
Yeah.
But you send it to the media, and they're going to paint you a picture, whatever picture, and usually it's doom and gloom, whatever picture they want to paint, that's what they're going to paint.
It's so funny you say that, because the media paints the picture and they use certain words and to create a narrative.
Right.
But I think I've said it before. There's no one who's a real live boots on the ground realtor, like in select areas or a collection of those, that actually inform the media or present the real information. Right. So there's got to be. Now, I do know that there's one guy. Matter of fact, I think he used to work for y'all, Joe Claire, right?
Oh yeah.
He's a real realtor.
Yeah, he used to be on our team.
And so he's boots on the ground. He could actually have a segment or something like that to talk about what's real live happening with the DMV report, to be able to shape the media, to shape the communication in such a way where it's accurate with what the numbers say. Right. Because if not, then you get a bunch of talking heads that.
That's a great point.
That have no idea. They could not write a sales contract if their life depended.
Well, the problem is the incentive structure, right?
Okay.
I mean, everything in this country
media,
is about incentive structure.
Yeah.
So what's the incentive structure? Well, I'm incentivized to make money. How do I make money? By getting eyes to my content. Well, how do I get eyes to my content? By posting a salacious headline. Shock, right? So if you post a comment like, hey, the real estate market's pretty much fine. Anybody will click on that, right? But if you put a YouTube thumbnail with fire behind you, and you put crash with an arrow pointing down, right? And you're posted like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna get pause. You're gonna get a bunch of.
You've done one like that though.
I got a bunch of like that. And it works. Right, it works. And it's fire behind. I'm like, yeah, everything's good. You're here now, right? So it's the incentive structure. And when you talk about big business, big news, big media, They always lie to us. They've been we found that out years ago. They've been lying to us for years. And then there's never any like repercussions for all their multiple lies.
Yeah.
They just go, oh well, we didn't know at the time. Sorry. Next, right? The Iraq War. Oh, we thought they were weapons of mass destruction, but guess it's not. All right, cool, right? It's like, okay, the incentive structure is we need to get eyes on these people so we can get clicks, so we can get money from advertisers. It's not to actually give factual information. That's this kind of one of the challenges. So smaller podcasts like this is why a lot of people tune in to our podcast, because we're actually like just giving like legit factual information about the DMV. We're not talking about clicks. We're not just telling you to just buy because we're all realtors. No, we're just giving you factual information, yo. It ain't really that bad. We're closing deals every day, month after month. We're still closing deals. We lost about a million real estate agents or something like that. Yep. Great, because they weren't doing crap anyway. They weren't doing crap anyway.
From what time frame?
Over the past like 2 years. Yeah. Those are the guys who got in during the pandemic because they wanted to sell their uncle a house and they didn't want to, they wanted to get a couple bucks in commission.
It was easy.
But they weren't the real real estate agents. Like they jumped in and then they jumped out once it wasn't easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because real estate is not easy. If you're trying to build a career out of this business, it's not easy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. So those are the people that left. The people who are buying and selling right now are the people who again aren't just looking at the headlines, right? And they're in a good position. We're not saying just buy right now. If it makes sense for you, buy. If it doesn't make sense for you right now, buy. We said the same thing 2 years ago. If it made sense for you to buy 2 years ago, then go ahead. That was a good idea. But I think a lot of people last year got that FOMO. They're like, oh man, all my friends are buying. And like you said earlier,
FOMO
Walcott,
for cheap seats, fear of missing out.
Right. If you're in the cheap seats and you don't know that, then you need to get out the stadium. Like Walcott said, it was like, yo, a lot of people were feeling like, we were telling them, no, it's historically low interest rates. And so a lot of them felt like they should have bought or they missed out. But you didn't miss out on anything, yo. You didn't miss out on low interest rates. So don't feel like you missed out on low interest rates. It's not a bad time to buy just because the interest rates are high. Again, like we said in the very, very beginning, Marcus, you talked about it. Focus on your monthly payment. Focus on your budget. And focus on what's comfortable for you. And make sure it makes sense for you. Make sure it makes sense for your family. And make sure it makes sense for your wallet right now.
Straight up.
To me, like real estate is so interesting, right? Because you have, to me at least, I have these rules of thumb, right? Then when it comes to real estate, like there's some universal truths.
Okay.
And I think a universal truth is generally it is a good time to buy, right? But the underlying factor is if you hold it. If you hold it 10 years, if you hold it 20 years, then yes, today is a better time to buy than 10 years from now, right? But the other thing, I think maybe people take it as, no matter what, I gotta buy. And you just showed an example where that's actually not true, right? And so for the other universal truth is everybody's different, right?
Yep.
And I think people hate that advice, especially when they ask for advice. They say, oh, my friend did this, I did this. Everybody's situation is different. So even though I say, yes, you should buy, if you're not in the position to, that could mean anything, right? Then it's not right for you.
Right.
For somebody who is ready, you should. If you ask me, should I buy now or should I wait? Buy now. Buy now. Because since I started in the business, I can't think of a scenario or a client who bought and was worse off because they waited. Bro. You know what I mean? And again, I've only been in the business 6-7 years, but I mean, like that's long enough. And it's like
you've seen a cycle.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's what it really comes down to. Like, yes, this is new territory. Like I've never seen rates at 7 or 8%. But me personally, I'm not going to stop when I'm ready. Right, I'm ready to put my house on the rental market. We'll have that rented out, and I'm ready for the next property. That's the game. Like if you want to build a rental portfolio, you can't stop because things aren't as good as it was. Because what are you waiting for? You actually don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah, and like you said, everybody's different. So it's also you don't stop, but you also don't compete with the other people because everybody got something different. It's in a sense I'm learning the game of golf, right? I don't care who the other three I'm playing with. I'm playing against the green, right? So you're not playing against what your mom did and what your cousin did and your coworker did. Like whatever you got going on, do what you can do. If it's only a 1 unit or if it's a duplex, it may not be a 8-unit building. Do what you can do, right? In a very wise manner.
That's a bar. So let's get into the real estate hot or not. You got to jump in on that one. All right,
Okay.
ready? Let's get into the real estate hot.
Or not.
So this time, we're going to switch it up. I'm going to get a little sippy sip while we work on the next segment.
I'm ready.
Dad jokes.
Dad joke. We switching it up for y'all. We've gone from, what did we start off with at the very beginning?
Start off with hot or not.
Was it always hot or not? Yeah, because you started off and then I took it over and then one got to go. And so y'all are familiar with the hot or not. You familiar with one got to go. So now we're starting this new segment.
So we're
kind
going
of
to
editing the 7 dad jokes.
All right, so here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Whoever laughs loses. We're going to go 5 rounds. Ready?
All right.
I'm going to go first.
Smile is not a laugh.
Okay, fair enough. That's good enough.
One more clarification.
One more clarification.
Because I think you're about to do it. If you laugh at your own joke,
You lose.
okay.
But I'm not going to laugh, so it's all good. Ready? Here we go. What do you call 2 ducks and a cow?
Don't know.
Quackers and milk.
All right.
Solid.
What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie?
What?
Sophisticated.
Good.
All right.
See this?
Well, that's a point.
He was. You were ready to bust on your own. You were ready to let it go on your own joke.
That's what I had to wait.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay. What do you call an angry carrot?
What?
A steamed veggie.
That's all right.
It's good.
Score.
Well,
So it's 1-1.
1-1, 0. 1-1.
Yeah.
First to 5. So, what do you call a fish with no eyes?
I have no idea.
A fish.
Shit. I don't know how this segment's gonna go.
I don't know either.
Because he's stupid.
Okay, lost that one.
What's the answer?
A fish.
A fish with no eyes is called a fish? Boy. All right. How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
How do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
You follow the Fresh Prince.
It's a good one.
That's good.
That was good.
I just can't look at Marcus. Don't look at Marcus. I'm good. I suck at this game. All right. Good
Yeah.
Walcott.
All right. How does Moses make his coffee?
I don't know.
He brews it. He brews it.
He
I'm not good at this game.
no.
Okay.
That was a good one.
2.
Count.
Yeah.
You lost.
I know.
2-1.
Mm-hmm.
0. All right. This comeback season. You ready?
All right.
Suckers. No fair. You can't stare at your phone. You cheating.
I'm preparing my joke.
You gotta look. All right. All right. You can prepare your joke. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get some points.
I know.
Why shouldn't you trust trees?
Shouldn't you trust trees? I don't know.
They seem shady.
I lost again. That was a good one. That was good.
Wait, you just laughed.
That ain't count.
That counts. You laugh.
I'm laughing at you laughing.
That's you
All
laugh.
right, fine. No more laughing.
Yes.
All right. Whew. How does the moon cut his hair?
I don't know.
Eclipse it.
It's good.
It's a good one. What did the horse say when he fell down?
The horse?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've fallen and I can't giddy up.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds about right.
That's
So nobody will ever have you laugh.
Mm-mm.
All right, here we go.
I guess y'all not hot? Yeah, I know you hot because you laughing.
Shut. When does a joke become a dad joke?
I don't know.
When it becomes apparent. Apparent.
Apparent. Creative.
When it becomes apparent.
Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it's a soap opera.
It's good.
That's good. That was good. Did you know in Hawaii it's illegal to laugh loudly?
Mm-mm.
You have to keep it to aloha.
My
Oh, you laughed.
That joke caught me
I won
late.
that one. I get 1 point.
That joke caught me late.
1 point. You got 3?
Yeah, I think
2?
Yeah.
1. All right, it's comeback season. All right, here we go.
There ain't no comeback season. You ain't got the one left.
What's a cow's favorite holiday? Moo Year's Day. Moo Year's.
Yeah, I heard the answer.
Moo Year's Day.
I heard it 2 times ago. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Moo.
Dear math, grow up and solve your own problems. Got him. Got him.
Crap. Stupid.
This is good.
Okay, I'm done. No more laughing.
You definitely lost. Go ahead.
So, I don't know. I mean, I just remember probably about 4 years ago, my boy came running out the room shouting, it's a boy, with tears streaming down his face. It's the last time we're going to Thailand.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Wanted to get you.
That you was close. You was close.
The joke was over. Technically, the round is over. So even if I lose, I still win.
Well,
Is that 5?
that is
That's
5.
4.
No, we've done 5,
But he only got 4
5
points.
rounds.
He lost one. First
Oh, no,
one,
no.
5.
Yeah, I
Oh.
lost a point.
but we've been around 5.
But this is round 5.
Oh,
We
really?
done. Yeah.
So who won?
He won. You did not.
I lost?
Yeah, you
Oh,
lost.
yeah.
You laughed every round.
I didn't laugh every
Yeah, you definitely lost.
I'm a happy guy. Life is good.
That was good though. That was good for a first run. I ain't gonna lie. Some good ones. Y'all
I
were.
got
Pretty good.
crushed.
Yeah.
I got to think of some dark stuff next time.
Nah, we gotta keep it.
All right, here we go. Let's get into the comment section.
All right. Let's see what y'all gonna do today.
All right, so this comment is from our TikTok page.
All right.
It is from Miss PJ414. Sounds like a very well thought out name. So it's about property taxes, and I think we've had this discussion a little bit before, but we can have it again. She says, so if you don't pay your property taxes, even if your mortgage is paid off, you will lose the home, right?
Rewind. She said what?
So the comment from Miss PJ414 is regarding property taxes and ownership.
Okay.
She's replying to the question that we had, the statement that we had where a gentleman said, you never own your home because you have to pay taxes on it. And we replied back to that and we said, well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, but if you don't pay your property taxes, this is the comment from PJ414, if you don't pay your property taxes, even if your mortgage is paid off, you will lose that home. Correct? So I think we'll give the first volley to Daniel Walcott. What say you?
Yeah, so it's funny because anytime someone says that, it's usually coming from you never truly own your home, right? There's so many ways I can go with this one. First thing I'll say, pay your property taxes, right? I think this is number one. If you pay your property taxes, then
that's a fact.
we don't have to worry about any of
Welcome
this.
to the real estate wire.
But the second thing is, to me, right, and I think I'll go in this direction, right? To me, we're getting into the nuances and the weeds of language, right? We're like, all right, well, what's the definition of ownership and what counts as ownership? Where in reality, when we talk about home ownership, the reason why we push it and we believe in it is the benefits that come with it, right? The benefits that come with home ownership is equity, appreciation over time, obviously having somewhere that you can call your own, that is safe, that no one can essentially put you out of unless you don't pay your property taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now we're getting into semantics, right? I don't own a home, so I can say, well, you don't own a home either.
Ooh.
Right? And so, like, what are we really talking about here, right? And so to me, it really that argument doesn't actually matter. Like, who actually cares if you think I own my home because I'm getting the benefits of ownership, right? And that's, to me, that's what matters. Rather than saying neither one of us own. Well, all right, get the benefits for sure. Neither one of us own, but you know what I mean. So I get it. I think the other way I was thinking about going with this, maybe one of you guys can elaborate, is we gotta pay taxes on everything in this country. Like, they tax every single thing in this country. And so it's like, all right, well, I got to pay taxes on the money I make. Oh, you didn't make that money because you got to pay taxes on it. Well, then what don't we have to pay taxes on? I mean, maybe we should have that conversation. Like, you're right. I purchased this property. I paid 30 years of mortgage or maybe a little bit less, depending, or maybe a little bit more. And after it's paid off, I still got to pay taxes on it. Well, let's overthrow whatever, because anytime you look at a country like France, anytime they got something that inconvenience them, they light the city on fire.
Right.
Anytime we got something going on in here, we'll march for a little bit. We think it's not right. We move on. We get a new president in, same old, same old. I think that we're going in a different direction, but
that's the direction.
If we're not going to do anything about it, let's just not do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the status quo.
I mean, yeah, like, I think that's a good point that I've never thought of, never taken it that direction, but it makes sense when you know, my mind always goes to assets versus liabilities.
Right.
That's where my mind is. Any dollar I spend, I'm thinking, is this a liability or is this an asset?
True.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to buy it if it's a liability. You know, I like Clancy's corn chips. It's a liability, right? But I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to pay taxes. Now, when I buy real estate, I'm thinking this is an asset. I'm buying it because of the benefits of owning assets, which is they grow in value, they produce cash flow, and then I can pass them down.
Tax write-offs.
There's tax write-offs. There's a myriad of benefits.
True.
Taxes, to me, are not enough of a negative to say, well, you know, I'm not going to do it because I got to pay taxes.
Good point.
Because if that were the case, like you said, we wouldn't do anything. You wouldn't drive. You wouldn't buy a stick of bubble gum. You wouldn't be able to get your Clancy's corn potato chips from Mr. Clancy. So I'm you know, when you think about, for example, Netflix, right? You're paying a subscription to Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't stop paying your subscription to Netflix just because you got to pay every month. So I look at, paying taxes. I love paying taxes. I mean, I hate paying taxes, but I'm glad that I get to pay taxes in this country as opposed to some other country that's taking 70% of my money and then distributing it to a whole bunch of other people, and I don't have a say. I'm glad that I have the ability to own my home, and I do have to pay taxes, a subscription to stay in this country, because if you don't like it, then find another country where they do have a tax code that you prefer.
Right.
You're on Earth. You have freedom of movement. You're a sovereign entity. If you don't like the tax code here in America, find another tax code that's more dope, that meets your financial desires. Do it. Until they do change the tax code, or if you find a piece of land somewhere and you want to cultivate it yourself, you want to excavate the land so that you have plumbing, so that you have electricity, and you want to build the house yourself, and you want to kill your own food, and you want to cook the food yourself, you want to be 100% self-sustainable, then maybe you won't have to pay taxes. But you're paying taxes because you have access to the electrical grid. You have access to the plumbing grid. You have access to Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi that you're using to type on TikTok right now. So these are all the things that people don't really take into consideration. We say, well, if I don't pay taxes, they take my house. Well, it's not so much that they take your house, it's that you didn't pay your subscription.
Paying into the system.
You got to pay to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to pay to play, but guess what? Here's the thing. You're paying taxes anyway. You're paying property taxes anyway. You're just paying your landlord's property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's included in your rent.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Man, I'm stepping out on a limb right here because you already know how I feel about the about the engagement on the social media thing. But I'll say this: I don't know of any country that doesn't have its constitution or whatever established. Right? They have some bylaws. They have some sort of governing authority. So you may not like it here, but if you go somewhere else, and like you said, move to another country, they're going to have their governing authority that says you got to pay to play here. You got to pay your subscription to be here as well, right? And I don't know of any place that you can just go down and knock down some trees and you can build a house. You can build an outhouse and you live completely off the grid and whatever materials you buy, you're going to pay taxes on that, right?
Mm.
And then should you move somewhere else and you're off the grid, there's a chance that they might know about it anyway. You know, around here, you move in the middle of the woods, you still have what we call the game warden, or you have like the Department of Natural Resources, DNR. They come walking through, and they have legal authority to hop fences, and it goes above like state police, like right? So authority, so they can, you live off the grid. But if the DNR walks up on you and they say, "Oh, you live out here? Yeah, oh yeah, okay. How long you been here? Whatever time." They can go back and report that, and then you can go. They report it to whoever they report it to, and now you're no longer off the grid. So you're going to pay something to be anywhere, right? And I think it's a matter of, if you really want to live free, you buy this for 30, you pay on this for 30 years, and you say, I don't want to pay on it any longer. I don't want to pay the taxes on it any longer, right? Because I never really owned it. Then call y'all and sell it, and then go live with your mama, or whatever. Then you gotta pay nothing, whatever. It's just like,
yeah,
you gotta pay. Like, you gotta pay. You have to.
Yeah.
The car you drive, taxes, tag, title, to get it off the lot.
Yep.
To walk out of Lidl or Aldi, you're gonna have to pay taxes. You're gonna have to pay taxes maybe on the brown paper bag that they charge you for now, right?
Charging for bags,
so
bro.
like you might pay a penny or something, but
right. So I think
nothing is free.
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
I just personally think, like, if you're choosing an argument against homeownership, you can find a better one.
I think, but I think she is wrong from the sense that, like, do you ever really own your home?
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I think that's what she's trying to get at.
So in that case, then I would disagree.
But it goes back to your argument, which is what's your definition of ownership.
Yeah.
What's your definition? Like,
Mhm.
so because someone can take it, that means you don't own it? Okay, somebody can take my shirt.
Mhm.
You still own it, right?
Very
But
true.
you don't own Earth. You don't own America. Somebody
Mhm.
got a claim to that. And you're
Somebody
here.
took this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they took it from somebody else.
What conversation we can really have? You know what I mean? Like, this was stolen.
Our flag flies. So let's get into the last question that I like to ask all of our guests before we get rolling here. Is I didn't prepare you for this question. I like not prepare you these questions. So Daniel Walcott, the other DW.
So
Where do you see real estate and the role of the real estate agents 20 years from today?
So I think there's going to be some type of change within all right, so technology comes for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think right now we're still, and it's here, but it hasn't taken over yet, right? And so I think we'll probably get to a point where our jobs are going to get easier, and it's going to get to the point, and if we let it, right? If we let it, it'll find one of the corporations, one of the tech companies are going to make us where we're employees, right? We're not business owners anymore. Like, we don't have like autonomy of what we do because we're going to be necessarily priced out. Like, they're going to own the information. And when you own the information, you can provide a better service. You can provide more information. And I think that's what buyers and sellers want, right? Yes, this is a complex process. They want somebody who they can trust to get them through it, but more important than that, they want information, right? And so I when I kind of look at what you're able to do with just access, like, you don't necessarily need access to the MLS to see what homes are on the market. You can go on Google and pick a website, and it's all going to be there. You don't necessarily need a lender to tell you how much your monthly payments are going to be. They now throw a calculator up there. If you know how to use it, you can get, pretty close to what it's going to be. So 20 years from now, I don't know. It's a tough call. I would think that I would hope we're not going to be like the taxi drivers. And I think that was a mistake because I paid $30 for a 5-minute Uber ride. And to me, that's ridiculous. But there's nothing we could do at this point, right? Because we let them take over. They pushed the taxis out, and now, because they lowered their price, and then they increased their price because now they have a monopoly. I don't want that to happen to us, where you have the Zillow and the Redfin coming in, lowering their prices until they're able to take over, and then they increase it because they're the only ones at play. So I think that is, if we think about Marvel and the different timelines, that could potentially be a timeline and something that happens down the road. So yeah, who knows? I do think that is something to be concerned about. I'm not concerned right now, but I do have my kind of eye on what's happening, eye on the ball. So I think we're always going to be relevant because people need guidance. Like, this process, for some people, it's easy. I mean, we've had our easy transactions, we've had our tough ones, and when it's tough, it's tough. And so you don't want to pick up a phone and call a 1-800 operator and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like, you need, things are messed up. Like, where we go from here.
That's
so
a fact.
We always have a role. I just don't know where that role is going to be in 20 years.
Love it, brother. Love it, brother. Well, thank you guys so much for jumping onto the Real Estate Wire podcast.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Dan.
As usual, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, make sure to leave a comment below. Leave a 5-star review. Tell everybody how dope you think it was, and share it with your friends and family. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not subscribing, you're watching this on YouTube, you're stealing our content. Coming for you. I'm looking at you, person on your computer. So make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to like this video and hit the notifications button so that you're the first to know when we drop new content. Dan Walcott, where can they find you at, brother?
You can find me on all social media platforms, danielwalcott.realtor, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. all that good stuff.
Where can they find you at, Coach?
At Fields Mortgage Group and at Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And I'm Dan Wheeler Sells Homes, not to be confused with Dan Walcott.
Ain't nobody confused though.
Thank you guys so much for jumping on to the Real Estate Wire podcast. For all of us here, we are out.
Peace. Dope. This is great.
Really good.